The System's New Monarch, written by Sapphire 1999, read by Honey the Oracle. Summary. Jin Woo is ready to retire. He has lived his life. His son will be safe with most of his shadows looking after him, but power cannot simply vanish. So he takes a page out of Ashborne's book and finds himself a successor, after making plenty of modifications to the system. After all, it had all the right things to be good training wheels for the newest monarch. So, letting his power loose to find the next monarch, he lets himself fade to the system and sleep within. Izuku was having a no-good day when the slime villain found him. When he woke up, he was not expecting to be met with a message to be looking him in the face. Now Izuku needs to figure out his quirk. After all, he didn't have a lot of time before the UA entrance exam, with his hope restored that just maybe he could be a hero too. Chapter 1. Waking up felt strange to Izuku, but it was understandably so, being laid out on asphalt. Blurry vision gave way to a blue screen that was staring down at him. It took a little effort to really even read. His eyes did not want to make out the bold letters, but soon did anyway. You have met all the requirements to complete a secret quest. You now qualify to become a player. Do you accept? Yes/no. Yes. A secret quest? What could have been the quest? Slowly he sat up, finding himself on the sidewalk. It was surprising that there was no pain. After all, Akatsuki had hit him after class before he had exploded his notebook and threw it out the window. Looking around, Izuku was met with a sight he didn't think he would ever see. All Might? Izuku questioned out loud. He was still under the bridge where he had been attacked by the slime villain. That's right, he was walking home examining the damage to his notebook, thinking about how stupid Katsuki was for having telling him what he did. It could ruin his chances to become a hero. All Might was crouched over a puddle of dark green, scooping the contents into a soda bottle. Another bottle, already full of the sludge, was sitting right next to him. Upon hearing his name, he looked up at the young teen with his signature smile. Ah, most excellent! You are awake! My apologies for getting you caught up in that villain hunt, my boy. I normally would never accept such failure, but thanks to you I was able to capture the villain. Thank you! The hero was loud and bigger than life, and Izuku couldn't help himself but smile at his hero who had saved him. The hero nerd couldn't help but bounce a little as the hero bowed, and Izuku got to have a close look at his hero. Now, why don't we get you off the ground, young man? All Might moved carefully up to Izuku after storing the villain who was contained in the bottles in the pockets of his pants. Carefully, he helped Izuku up to his feet. Tell me, young one, are you having any difficulty breathing? Can you hear it? The ambulance is almost here. And at the hero's words, Izuku did pick up on the sirens. He could hear the city as a whole, the birds and the faded sounds of traffic. No, All Might, sir, I feel okay. Could I get an autograph? And where? Izuku looked around for the notebook that he had, but found his backpack and notebook to be missing. Not to worry, young man, I have you covered, the hero barked out, grabbing Izuku's attention back from the ground, and Izuku's confusion of the lost backpack and notebook. The hero pulled from a different pocket a small handheld notebook and quickly wrote out his autograph before pulling the paper and holding the paper out to Izuku, who took it reverently. Thank you, sir. I'll treasure it forever. This earned a loud booming laugh from the hero as the ambulance pulled up. The paramedics came out, and one came up while the other went around to the back. All Might, sir, we'll take it from here. The paramedic gave the pro a smile as he turned from All Might to the pro hero and then back to the boy. He looked happy, and he definitely wanted to say more, but was being professional. Well, then, I leave him in your capable hands. All Might's hand gently patted Izuku's shoulder. The hero made Izuku feel not just small, but safe, even as he urged the teen toward the paramedic with a gentle push. The other one came up with a stretcher. The paramedic bent down to the teen's height with a smile on his face. Well then, let's get you checked out, huh? All Might said over the phone that the bad guy blocked your breathing there for a moment. Can you tell me your name? The question drew Izuku's attention off the hero long enough to really examine the first paramedic. He was tall with tattoos on both forearms. One looked to be a medical bag, and the other a medical cross done in grayscale. He had short brown hair that was carefully trimmed on his head and his face. He had no noticeable quirk, but no doubt it was something health-related. I'm Izuku Midoriya, Izuku answered carefully as he looked at the other who was bringing the stretcher up to the nervous teen. Well, Mr. Midoriya, let's get you on the bus and looked over, huh? The second paramedic spoke up. He was a black man, no hair on his head or face. He had kind eyes, not so much focused on the hero as Izuku. He too had no obvious quirk, but he was already wearing gloves, so maybe it was touch-based, or so Izuku thought. He was thoroughly distracted by the two nice paramedics. He didn't notice All Might walking up to a detective who had pulled up at some point without Izuku noticing. Just before Izuku could be coaxed onto the stretcher, he looked back to the hero that was handing the bottles to someone in a trench coat. The two of them were talking about something, and while Izuku was nervous, he had to ask. He had to ask the hero who told everyone that anyone could be a hero. He needed to hear it directed at him and no one else. "Wait, All Might," he called across the street at the large hero, ignoring the gentle words from the paramedics that were trying to coax him away. "All Might, can anyone be a hero, even someone who is quirkless?" He called out, and for a moment everything went silent. The paramedics had gone quiet, the one wearing the gloves having pulled off one and touching the teen's arm and shooting a look to their partner as the detective and All Might looked at Izuku. The silence was deafening, and Izuku could swear his ears were ringing before the rejection even came. "I'm sorry," the loud boisterousness was gone as he addressed him this time. "But might I suggest something else, like the police, or even becoming a paramedic?" The rejection had been soft, but it had been just that, a rejection. Izuku for once didn't feel the need to cry, but rather just felt numb. He went with the paramedics without a word after that. Izuku had had a long day. In less than 6 hours, the boy he thought had been his friend, or at least had been his best friend at one time, told him to kill himself. He was attacked by a villain, and then, while he was down, woke up to All Might saving him. The hero hadn't stayed long, only enough to make sure Izuku was in the hands of the paramedics before running away with a detective as Izuku was being loaded up into the ambulance as if hell itself was about to swallow the city, and he had to save it. It was just long enough for his dream to be crushed, but that persistent screen stared at him throughout it all, waking up, having his heart crushed with his dream and the hospital visit, the divide in reactions to his presence there at the public facility. 3 large groups dictated his life. Those who looked at him in pity, those who looked at him in disgust, and the smallest group, indifference. Izuku sat on the bed within his hospital room, now completely alone for the first time since he had woken up on the asphalt. His mother had come in about an hour ago, crying before she had even seen him. He was in good health. His head doctor, who looked at him with pity, had decided to keep him overnight for observation, just to be sure that he was okay. After all, he was a weak and quirkless child who All Might himself had saved. His mom had been quick to agree, staying till the last moment until the nurses had asked her to leave. It was his first chance to check the messages that were waiting for him, a small board that had been sitting at the edge of his vision, waiting patiently for Izuku to read it. It had 2 messages waiting for him, and he hoped that maybe there were answers inside. The subject lines read as, "Congratulations, you have become a player," unread. "Daily quest, train to become a powerful hero," unread. The second line of text made Izuku's breath hitch. Train to become a powerful hero? He had to reread the line more than once. It was insane. All Might had told him as they waited for the ambulance that Izuku could never become a hero, to pick out a different dream, an achievable one. Yet it made sense. He had never trained to try and achieve his dream. He had studied heroes and decided to follow them, but never once had he tried to train. The thing every hero mentioned at least once, training, how they made their body physically capable of doing their job. How could he ever become a hero while he was just a twig? No wonder All Might didn't see behind the child who had stood right in front of him, and only saw what Izuku told him, a quirkless child unable to put in the work. Train to become a powerful hero? The screen stayed motionless, unresponsive to his words. Thinking for a moment, he tried again. Open? The screen changed, and rather than an email or answer, Izuku found himself looking at a list, though a short one. Daily quest. Train to become a powerful hero. Goals. Push-ups. 0 out of 10. Sit-ups. 0 out of 10. Caution. Failure to complete will come with penalties. Warning. Daily quest will become more difficult once released from hospital. The list he saw didn't seem to be a very hard training regimen that would whip him up into being a hero. But it was a start, right? It wasn't like he was hooked up to any machines or anything. The nurses and doctor weren't all that worried. They just wanted to make sure that his weak system didn't catch anything, which he agreed with for different reasons. The slime villain had been in the sewer, and he swore he could still taste the villain on his tongue. So this was the start. Well then, he should brush his teeth until he gets the taste out of his mouth. It took Izuku about an hour to do the workout, having struggled to meet the requirements that the daily quest required of him. He felt like he had done far more than just the 10 reps of each exercise that he had been told to do. Once he sat back down on the mattress, the screen reappeared. Daily quest. Train to become a powerful hero. Complete. Reward. 3 stat points and 1 mystery box. Mystery box? Izuku asked out loud, not even thinking about keeping his voice to himself. The line that held the spoken text blinked with the light, and a glowing ball of light appeared in Izuku's lap. For a moment, Izuku's heart spiked, nervous for this new happening. A moment later, and the ball shifted, turning into a notebook and pen, causing the curly-haired boy to blink in surprise. But... he sputtered in the empty room as he lifted up the gifts to better inspect them. It did bring his attention to another small issue. What had happened to his backpack and notebook? Leaning back and falling against the pillow, Izuku sighed. So if this was a video game type of quirk, then what would it be? An RPG, right? And didn't they have inventories? At that thought, a new box opened up before Izuku. There were 2 tabs, one listed as inventory, and the second tab, which was open, listed bag inventory. Sitting back up quickly, Izuku couldn't help the happy smile on his face. The bag inventory holding his textbooks, pens, pencils, and notebook. Tentatively, Izuku reached out to tap the notebook icon that read Hero Analysis for the Future. Rather than click a button, his hand phased through the screen, and the teen felt something press against his fingers. Grabbing it, Izuku pulled out the desired damaged notebook. So his things really had been stored just like they would be in a video game. Looking over the notebook for a moment, Izuku then held it tight to his chest. Show me messages? The inventory screen shifted to the side, and the desired window opened before him, showing the same 2 as before. Congratulations, you have become a player. Unread. And Daily quest. Train to become a powerful hero. Read. Show me the first one? Izuku experimented with the commands, needing to know if there were phrases or codes he needed to figure out, though thankfully the system seemed to understand, and the first message opened up. Reading the message, Izuku could hardly contain his rising bile, looking at the welcome message that acknowledged him as a player. Curiosity had driven him to look at the message while he had been eating his breakfast. Now he wished he hadn't for what he read at the bottom of the screen. Consumed 1 holy water of life. Water of life. Item S-class. Type consumable. A mysterious potion that can cure any disease or effect with powerful magic. The effect will only take place when the entire potion is consumed. Extremely powerful healing potion. 2 remain in inventory. Locked item. Reading the message, Izuku couldn't help but wonder how close had he come to dying, or did he die before his quirk saved him? Was All Might even in time to actually save him, or had he died before All Might even had a chance to save him? That's the end of Chapter 1 of the system's new Monarch. I hope you enjoyed, and please do go check out this fic on the archive. Again, the author is Sapphire1999. Thank you for listening.